Hey everybody, what is up? It is New Autocube, and today we're going to be talking about Pokemon. And this is not going to be a very positive video like most of my videos, as there's a major problem with Pokemon games right now. The newer games suck, the older games are not as good, and the Pokemon trading card game is cooked. So, where do I begin with? So, for me, I am a major Pokemon fan, and Pokemon has been in pretty much all of my life. And I used to be a big time Pokemon collector for the video games, and I loved the anime growing up. I used to watch it all the way through, and I grew up with Ash Ketchum and Misty and Brock and May and Dawn and Serena and all of them, and I love Pokemon, and the older games were amazing. Like they're timeless masterpieces, and it's something I definitely want to keep going back to from time to time. But unfortunately, these days, these games are extremely stupidly expensive, and it's become a major problem. And I've talked about this a bit in the past on TikTok before, but I wanted to really sit down and just write down all of my ideas and stuff about what Pokemon has become in the last 5 to 8 years or so. And I just want to express my anger towards this and my sadness towards this as well. And I just don't think Pokemon's ever going to be the same again. And I hate to say that, but it's ruined. Pokemon is ruined. And the reason why I say that is because these games have become extremely expensive within the last couple years. The older games I'm talking about. The newer ones, like your Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield and Pokemon Legends Arceus, whatever you want to call it. These are my wife's copies, but they're fun in their own way. But I'm gonna be real honest; they're very lackluster compared to the older Pokemon games. Game Freak, they're a really small company, and they have hundreds of billions of dollars, gazillions of dollars, because every Pokemon game that they make, whether it be good or bad, if it has Pokemon on it, people are gonna be like, "Oh, look, it's Pokemon," and they're gonna buy it. And that's the problem. And they have a really small team, and these games have not been as good as they've been in the past. I feel like when they transitioned to 3D, at first it was cool, and over time I feel like they became more and more lazy with the quality of their games, and it's become a major problem. Now, I know with the Nintendo Switch that the console was very underpowered, but that is a whole nother issue to talk about. On the Nintendo Switch 2, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they run perfectly on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I highly recommend playing them on there if you haven't already to get the experience of these games, because I played the entire game through, except for the DLCs. I didn't buy the DLCs, but I played the OG game on the Nintendo Switch, and I enjoyed some of the content in the game, but the game ran horribly. But that's a whole other topic to talk about for another time. But my main gripe is the older games. The older games are extremely expensive, and within the last 5 to 8 years, they've gone up so drastically in price. It's insane. I remember being able to go to my local retro store back in 2018, 2019-ish maybe, and I could walk in and I can grab a loose copy authentic Pokemon Emerald for $40 to maybe $60 at most, and it'd be not a problem at all. And I could also get Pokemon Fire Red or Leaf Green, just the loose cart, for $25, and I can get Pokemon Platinum. I remember getting that game complete in box authentic for $40 or less. And Pokemon Coliseum, a very expensive game these days. I remember being able to get a complete in box copy of it for $25. And people, they may hear these prices these days and they're going to be like, yeah, right. But yeah, no, that's the prices I paid for those games before 2020. And I want to get into that a little bit. I think the pandemic really messed things up for Pokemon, and I don't think it's reversible at this point. We saw Pokemon, the older Pokemon games, there was a major demand for them, along with the Pokemon card series, and people have been wanting to really get into it because during that time we were all locked down and people wanted to go back and play things that they grew up with or get into Pokemon cards and stuff. And with all that happening, we saw the rise of the video game grading market and the trading card game grading market, and it's completely ruined Pokemon. I mean, the games I just listed a few minutes ago, like Pokemon Emerald, if you want a loose copy of it nowadays, you're going to be paying like $250 for the game. If you want a complete in-box copy, you're going to be paying $500 to $600 or more if you want a sealed copy or a non-sealed copy that's going to be probably graded. And everybody's taking all these games and getting them graded to make 3 to 4 times the amount of money, and it just sucks. And as for me, like back when I was about 15, my friend and I, we were stupid, and we didn't even realize what would happen to Pokemon one day. We wanted to get a PlayStation 4, and I sold all my Pokemon games. I used to collect all of them. I had all of the games from the Game Boy Advance all the way up to the 3DS games at the time, and I sold all of them to get a PlayStation 4, and I tried to get some of them back over time, and it's been a little bit back and forth, or selling them back and stuff, and buying them back, and it's just been like that. And now these games are so extremely expensive that it's like the average American's probably like making $600 to $1,000 per paycheck or whatever, and they're just not going to be able to buy these games, or they can't eat, or they can't pay rent. And it's gotten to a point where I just don't think it's reversible. It sucks. So what are we going to do about this? I mean, nowadays that we have more emulation and stuff, I say the best route to go is to get a Steam Deck. And let's see here. Gotta go to my Nintendo DS games. But as you can see on my Steam Deck, I got all the Nintendo DS games on here. Kind of hard to see. I got all the Game Boy Advance games on there and stuff like that, so I can play them anytime that I want. But what sucks about that is it's really hard to transfer Pokemon over to the modern games. You gotta have an authentic copy of one Pokemon game or another to be able to get things transferred over if you use hacking and modding and stuff with the Nintendo 3DS. Because that's kind of where it branches off into Pokemon Bank / Pokemon Home. And you gotta have at least, like, I think one Nintendo Game Boy Advance game or a Nintendo DS game to be able to transfer everything over to the modern titles. And even if you like transfer your save file over to an authentic cart on the Game Boy Advance, I mean, it's still a complicated mess. And I really hope Nintendo does something in the future, like add these Pokemon games to the NSO, the Nintendo Switch Online or something, to be able to send all these Pokemon over. I know they're going to be adding, with the GameCube titles, Pokemon XD and Pokemon Coliseum on the Nintendo Switch too, which is awesome. But, yeah, no, I just hope they do something. Like, the other option I would definitely recommend, Pokemon games, like, you can enjoy the games without English text. Now, not all people will be able to, but for me, one of the games that meant a lot to me as a kid was Pokemon Platinum, and I wish I can get that game back, complete in box in the North American version, but for right now, I got a Japanese copy of Pokemon Platinum, and I had a total blast with this thing, and it just sucks that it's just hard to get these complete in box English copies, and it's just a great alternative if you don't want to spend all this crazy money, because the Japanese games, they're much cheaper and much more reasonable, and yeah, I think this is the better way to go. But Pokemon is just heading in a really bad direction. I think it's going to get much worse. Honestly, I can see Pokemon Emerald, for example. I know I keep going back to that game. It's a really popular Pokemon game. I absolutely loved it. I grew up with it, and I have a lot of memories with it. And so we have a loose copy. It goes for around $250 or more. I'm thinking within the next 5 to 8 years, maybe. I'm thinking it's going to maybe double in price. I'm thinking it might be maybe $400, $500, $600 within the next couple years for a loose copy of Pokemon Emerald that's authentic. And I know a complete in box copy goes for around $500 to $600, and that's not sealed, by the way. That's just for like the box, the manuals, the inserts, everything. I could see that going for a couple grand within the next few years. I mean, it's sad. Like, how much worse is it gonna get? I mean, these people like me, it's like, do you want to spend money to invest in a family, or do you want to spend the money to invest in these games? You know, and as for me, I'm married now, and I have a wife to take care of, and eventually I'm going to have children. And my kids are not going to be able to enjoy the older Pokemon games, because all they're going to have is games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which are not as good as the older games. The older games had much more content, and we always had like a third title that would combine the best elements of both the games, and I miss those days. Like, now we just have DLC and stuff, which, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but I still prefer the older thing. And the entire game was on the cart. Like, the entire Pokemon Platinum is on this cart, and these days you get an incomplete game that runs like absolute trash, and these newer updates, like, they might fix some stuff, but again, it's an incomplete game. And that's a major problem with the gaming industry right now. And they're like, these companies are releasing unfinished products and expecting us to pay more and more and more. But that's a whole nother rant to get on for another time. But it just really sucks that we're entering this age. And I don't know, guys. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments under the video, and let me know how the whole Pokemon craze has affected you as collectors and lovers of Pokemon, just like me. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get all the games back, to be honest. I was able to get a bunch of them back before I got married, but I had to sell them off because I needed the money to be able to support me and my wife and move on in life. And at the end of the day, it's like, what's more important, you know? Like, if I ever want to play all the games, I can just load them up on my Steam Deck, or I can load them up on a modded Nintendo 3DS, which those are becoming more expensive. Or I can load it on my PC on emulation and play the older games. But yeah, it's not good. The Pokemon trading card game market's messed up with the whole grading thing. Like, these Pokemon games and the Pokemon trading card games have become so expensive, not only because of the demand, but because of resellers and scalpers and people like that out there. It's become much more common. And yeah, guys, I just don't think it's gonna change. Hopefully we'll see a change in the next couple years, but I highly doubt it. I'll see you guys later. Keep gaming, and catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.